Good morning. Good morning. This is Sharpened Perspectives, episode 14. I'm Jim Vandeveld of HMC Knives, joined by my co-hosts, Ken Spaulding of Zodiac Engineering and Alex Steingraber of SPK Unlimited. Today is Thursday, and we're just getting together here to kind of have another ramble-sode, as we're calling them now. Actually, we were speaking before the show, and we are planning on making episode 15, next week's episode, our first kind of structured episode where start to finish, there's going to be some structure. What that is, we're not 100% sure just yet, but we know that that's what we want to accomplish. And with as organized as organized as Ken is, I have no doubt that we will be receiving detailed itineraries of what it is that we will be undertaking. Anyways, guys, here in Pennsylvania, I know that also in New York, we got our first snow. Winter is officially here. Maybe not on the calendar, but we did get like 4 inches of snow last night, and it was cold today. So fall came and went. We had leaves, and then we didn't, and now there's snow on the ground, and I didn't rake up a single leaf, which maybe we can keep this ball rolling. But today is part of the week. It seemed like it came really quickly. I don't know where the week went. I didn't expect us to be at hump day quite this quickly. I have CCKS. I'm leaving a week from Friday. I fly out, and ask me how many knives I finished. 0.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of like what's on my plate right now. I'm focused on, actually, I hit the pause button. I'm blanking out all of my frames for the show out of carbon fiber right now. All my blades are through heat treat and are getting surface ground right now, and I have all backspacers and clips made. So I just have to make liner inserts and op1 and op2 on frames and then start assembling. So I'm kind of hoping that by Friday, maybe that's a little bit unrealistic, but I'm hoping by Friday to be assembling knives for the show so that I have like a solid week to finish them. And not only am I running behind, but I am intending to bring more than I've brought to any of the other 2 shows this year. I'm trying to bring 8. So I don't know how it's going to go, but that's pretty much what's going to be my focus for the next 10 days or so. What were you guys up to today?
Today, actually this whole week. So I had a conversation with my landlord in the shop, the landlord of my shop, and I said, hey, is it cool if I put a couple shelves up? And he's like, yeah. So basically what I did was I installed 6 shelves, 7, 8, 9, almost 10 shelves, and got everything.
So a couple turned into 10.
Yeah. So like I went ham on the shelving in the shop, and I'll post something on Instagram later if you guys want to check it out. But
oh yeah.
So the goal was to get everything off the floor and kind of put it on the wall. And the reason was I just want to be able to fit more machines. So now what I can do is actually I can load this up with like a few more Speedios if I wanted to, or a bevel grinder or whatever. So that's what I did most of the week. I got parts actually came in on Monday from Waterjet and double disc grinding for the titanium frames. So I haven't even turned on the machine yet. I'm probably going to do that at the end of the week. And then I got new fixturing coming in this week. Material for base plates coming in this week. So I got a lot of programming to do. Well, not a lot of programming. It's a square. So I got programming to do for that. And then that's going to go out to double disc grinding and, or not double disc grinding, Blanchard grinding, and then get those ready to go for probably next month. But yeah, I mean, like you said, with fall leaving and now it's winter, it's like we got 2 months left in the quarter. And I don't know. I think I want to do 2 more drops, but I don't know if I have 2 more drops in me, like at the same capacity as I did last time. I just shipped off those 65, and I'm feeling pumped now that I got all these shelves up. But I don't know. It's we'll see what happens. But one thing I am going to try to work on this week is there's a local heat treating company in Rochester. And I don't know if they've heat treated like knife steels, but that's pretty much the same as tool steels, so it should be the same. I'm gonna see if they'll do the heat treating for me from now on, so I can focus on just getting stuff done while those are out heat treating, because they'll heat treat, you know, hundreds at a time versus the 6 or 7 that I can do at a time, or 8 that I can do at a time in my oven. But that's the goal, is just try to have more, I guess, prepped and finished parts on the shelf. So then when next year comes around, I can kind of just make things more streamlined. But I was, not to go off topic, but I was listening to the Joe Rogan podcast with Elon Musk today, and no spoilers or anything, but Elon was talking about how prototyping is significantly easier than mass manufacturing stuff. Like, there's more problems in manufacturing than there is in like prototyping. Like, I guess more things could go wrong, and not a lot of people see that behind the scenes thing. But that's one of the things, is like, as far as manufacturing on my end, is like not having to deal with heat treat, even though, I don't know, people argue that like if you don't do heat treat in house, it's garbage. But I don't know. I don't see that. I think professionals know what they're doing. As long as you ask for what you want, they should provide it for you, you know?
Yeah, I mean, there aren't really any knife makers that are like metallurgists, so I think that these guys know probably better what they're doing than most guys, you know, making knives. So it's very simple recipes, I mean, as far as heat treating goes. So yeah, this week has been pretty busy for me, actually. Monday was a hectic day. I got a lot of stuff done on Monday. I did a bunch of slides. I finished up, well, I kind of finished this up already, but I finished up this last datum that I have. This is a 15th one with Ultim.
Nice.
On one side. So I'm working on blackening some of the hardware. I started doing one of the pocket clips. I talked a little bit to you guys about it. I don't know if my blasting media is not aggressive enough, if I'm not getting it hot enough. It's getting a pretty uniform gray. I got the tip of it really black, which looks awesome. But I just need to keep working on that. But I'm definitely going to do the screws for sure. Monday, I ended up making an Ultim coin.
Nice.
Came out pretty cool. And then I also made a set of Ultim inlays, which is what I originally got the Ultim for. Inlays really nice. For one of the slingshots. This one came out cool. I think if there was like a white liner below the inlay, that it would actually pop a lot more amber than it does with just being black behind it.
See, I think it looks like nice and dope.
It looks cool, but then you see like this one, and this looks super amber color compared. It's literally the same piece. I mean, I guess when it's in front of the black, you know, but when it's in front of like something white, when it's in front of something white right there, it gets amber, and then black, it gets really dark. But anyways, I'm basically building like a one-off set of all three of like the main items that I've been making.
It's the Zodiac Engineering starter pack, bro.
There you go. And I want to auction these things. So I need to figure out how I'm going to do that. If I'm going to do it in Facebook or do it on Instagram, or what the best route for that would be. I haven't done an auction for my own stuff before.
Do it on both.
I could run it on both. I mean, I guess as long as I set a deadline on it and figure out, you know, all the rules and everything. I need to just kind of pick your brain, because I know you've done a bunch of them. Have you done any auctions, Alex?
I've done auctions, but only on Instagram. I've never done it on both platforms.
But the format for it is kind of the main thing. It's like, obviously there's a start time. You guys running it for just a few hours or a couple days, or
no, fuck that. Don't do it for days. Do it for like 5 hours.
Yeah, do it for 5 hours. Something short, have it start and finish the same day, but give some prep beforehand to let everybody know when it's going to start. Maybe email drop for sure on there. And then definitely Facebook group, and maybe throw some announcements on Instagram.
My recommendation would be to start it early on like a Saturday, like 9 o'clock your time, and end it at like 4 o'clock your time, so that it's like you're ending it before kids' bedtimes and the crap that people get pulled away from their phones for around the end of the auction.
Yeah,
I like to do them for like 5 hours. I typically do them from like 9 to 3:30.
Nice.
Or 9 to 3.
Your time,
my time. Right. You want to end it, because like the other thing too is like if you ever happen to have like overseas people participating, you forget that they're like minimum of 6 hours or 9 hours ahead of you. So that doesn't happen all the time, but yeah, I would start there. And also I would take the time to what the fuck was I going to say?
I definitely want to take a lot of nice photos of everything.
Yeah, I mean, that's integral. Oh, and when you're doing the cross-platform stuff too, like the easiest way to do it is, you know, you're just having to manage it. Like if there's an IG bid, you go into Facebook group and you comment IG bid $900, and then there's a Facebook one, you go to IG, and I typically like to pin the highest bid to the top of the post, and then
I do that.
I typically, to keep people engaged, is like when there's a high bid, I will then I will reply to the comment and say new high bid, or so-and-so at so-and-so with the new high bid of whatever. And then underneath I'll tag the relevant bidders so that like they get a notification from me so that they can see the newest bid. A lot of guys don't do that, but I find it just keeps people engaged in it. You know, I think go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, and you want to make sure you do like an anti-snipe rule. So like at the very end, do like, I don't know, what do you typically do, Jim? I think I've done like a 10-minute one or a 5-minute one. Like I've kept it like really short. I know some people do like a 15 anti-snipe rule, but
sorry, I'm getting I don't mean to be like we're trying to record. I'm also in the middle of desperately trying to get Creo to work on my new computer, and there's a licensing problem where it's a very retarded way that this shouldn't be saying that, but there's a dumb way that like
my wife told me
Creo does it, where you have to like go to their website, you have to like go to like your license options, you have to like deinstall them from whatever computer you had, you have to reinstall them with the new host ID from your IP config, and then you have to upload them, then you have to install it, you get a license file emailed to you, then you have to like upload that license file and install it. Well, somehow like the host ID that they have in my install is not the host ID that they have like in my license file, or they weren't emailing me the license file, blah, 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 blah. I can't, every time that I open Creo, it immediately crashes. So I've been working with my reseller, my software distributor, and he opened up a case for me today with PTC because they can't figure out what's going on. PTC owns Creo. And so now I'm in a tech support thing where I have to respond very poignantly and like pertinently, or else like they don't respond to me. Like it's like if I'm not sitting at my computer responding, so I just after 4 hours just got 2 emails in a row. So you're talking and I'm like, shit, I need to read this really quick because I have to say something stupid to keep this thing going. Yeah. So another case, you know, for switching over to Fusion, I guess, you know, add it to the list, even though you guys were just talking shit on the most recent Fusion update anyway. So that those two could like cancel each other out today.
No, yeah, that's that's like a funny running joke.
What the latest one is, but
anytime there's a Fusion update, everyone's just like, "Oh, why is there a Fusion update?" It's just like it's like a meme, basically.
Can you not install the update, or do you have to?
Yeah, you can not install. You can suspend them. Yeah,
you can suspend them. I think for like 2 weeks. You just tell them not right now, and basically just wait a couple weeks so that they release a couple bug fixes, and then do the update. I'm on an insider edition, so I think it's maybe at least like 3 weeks or so early on most stuff. So I think most of the stuff that's rolling out on the main release is stuff that I've already had in mind. But I don't pay attention too much to it, which I probably should, because I think that's part of being in the insider program, is really like focusing on that stuff. But I also haven't been in Fusion too much lately the past couple weeks. Jim's gone again.
But yeah, what we were talking about before is like the anti-snipe rule. Like, what do you set do you set one? Do you set time? Like what time frame?
Yeah, I typically do 5 minutes. So like somebody can't swoop in if it ends at 3:59, make a bid, it ends at 4 and it's over. I'll add, if somebody comes in at 4:59, then I'll make a comment below, so-and-so with the high bid, anti-snipe rule in effect until 4:04 p.m. And then if somebody else bids between then and 4:04, so-and-so has the high bid. the anti-snipe rule extended to 5 minutes more, 4:09, and you just go, duh, you know. And typically, like, how my last few auctions have gone is they're pretty slow because people don't like to bid them up, you know. And then in whatever, the 2 or 3 guys that really want it at the end will then go back and forth. It usually takes 20 to 25 minutes of anti-snipe rule, you know, extensions for like the auction to end. And I'll even have guys like hit me up that are just like, say they're at like 3,800 and they're just like, I'm out, I'm becoming a private bidder, I'll go to 4,200, like let me know if I won or not. And then I'm stuck, kind of like somebody bids and then I'm like, private bidder number 1 bids this much, and then you start to get like, kind of like, I don't like doing that because it makes you seem like you're like bidding your own auctions up, you know what I mean? Which like I just like don't, but at the same time it's, hey, their money's green too, so I'll do it. But
yeah, you can probably put some rules in there too, like, hey, I don't want to do any private bid shit or whatever. I'm not going to bid for people, you know. But at the same time,
you're hamstringing your auction. Then you know what I mean. The whole point is to make, you're making, I wouldn't want to say an egregious amount of money, but probably double what you would have for like a little bit of like admin on your posts. Like,
yeah, as long as people are aware of it, I think beforehand, maybe write that in the comments or in the original caption, like, you know, people want a private bid or whatever. This is where it's coming from. Yeah, I gotta figure that out because I want to do that. But I also want to bring one of these with me to CCKS, which is the only one that I have. I don't think I'm going to finish any more in time just because I'm not doing any heat treat here. And I don't want to rush something through and send it to you again, and then you got to take time away from your own stuff to do mine when it's not even my table. So I'm on the fence because I do want to do this. I want to auction this thing soon, like maybe this weekend, because it's, aside from blackening the hardware, it's done. I've already sharpened it. It's literally, this thing will be ready to ship right now if somebody wanted it in satin hardware. But I think doing black hardware on it would make it match the other parts really well and make it pop. So I'm just trying to figure out.
If you want to wait till CCKS, I don't care if you do it on my table, and you could run it the show concurrent with, there'll be money in the room, people can check it out.
Yeah,
you know,
that'd be cool.
That's a week.
I don't really want to brown bag that show though either, you know, which I don't know if anybody's going to matter. It is your table, but yeah, we'll see. One thing
brown bagging to me is bringing knives and like selling them like in the common areas
next to
like
the
if you're
trash
just
can.
an attendee, like an attendee that's like in the common, like the pit or wherever it would be, whatever people are chilling, and you're selling shit without paying for a table to people that are there for the show. But like you have a badge, you're gonna be behind a table.
Yeah,
like,
that's true.
You have one knife.
Yeah, I would 100% do that at Blade Show though, just cause, you know.
Well, Blade Show is corporate enough to not give a shit about them.
If it were a small show, I would definitely buy a table and show some respect. But like if it were a Blade Show,
yeah.
I know. I understand. I think it's kind of in the middle. Yeah, I don't know.
You also could. What you could do is not be taking bids at the show, but have it for display and say,
"Yeah,
I'm auctioning this shit next week or something."
I'm auctioning. No, fuck that. You run the auction online.
Oh yeah,
but in the post you can say, if you're at CCKS, come to this table if you want to check the knife out and bid here.
Bid only.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you won't have a piece of paper out that's like accepting bids, but that way guys can check the set out and stuff, because there are going to be a lot of people at CCKS.
That might be the move for sure, because then I'll have all that stuff.
Then
I'll have something to show people, and then I can.
You can send me your hardware and your clip, and I'll just blacken them for you and bring them with me.
I was just going to say that,
that's the fucking jam right there.
Because you probably have a way lower grit blasting media. That's what I think of the issue.
I have
10 grit.
Yeah, I have a bunch of extra pocket clips, and I can pull the hardware off this too and send it to you. I mean, I have other hardware, but this stuff's already kind of chamfered for the one side. It's kind of annoying because one side is flush, like the stock tie side is all flush, like all the hardware's nice and flat and flush how I should be. But because the Ultim's so thin, I had to make the counterbore 20 thou thinner, but I can't make the head 20 thou thinner because then the Torx will pop through. So I put a chamfer on it, HMC style. And so that's the only one that sticks up, you know, which for me, I'm not a fan of it, but I know you like it. And so there's the one screw, the back one didn't need to because it's 100 thou thick right there or whatever. So there's plenty of room. But yeah, I mean, this one, actually the action on this one is probably one of the best ones. I blasted the blade too, so blade looks really nice. It's kind of satin gray, which now I want to do it on all of them, but it's a shitload of work because I'm using such fine glass. I think it looks very nice. It looks a lot nicer, in my opinion, than like the old super aggressive shit that I used to use. But it's very time intensive because it's so slow to blast stuff because of how fine it is.
Yeah, for me, 120, 70 grit, get the fire hose out, get it done.
Yeah, this is probably, I mean, this is glass bead and it's been there for years. So it's probably just beat to shit. Like it needs to be replaced.
It's 1,000 grit.
At least, yeah. So, yeah, Monday. So I did all that stuff on Monday and then I also cut up all of my Magna Cut. So I got all this stuff blanked out. I have 35 blanks of Magna Cut. I have enough hardware and tie for 30 frame sets. And then I have enough material for pocket clips and lock bars for like maybe 40 or so pieces. So there's some extras and all that stuff.
Yes. Let's go.
So I already deburred all that shit. I just need to find the rest of my pitbull clamps. And I'm going to probably put this in today and just start blanking out blades. And while that's running, I have one more slide to do. Guy wants like a bunch of custom stuff on it. I finished this one yesterday. This one's all optic cut, serrations, ground sides, window on the top. So this is a local dude, one of my buddies. So I got a bunch of slides to drop off today and then this one to drop off and then pick up some more from another guy and errands today running around. But I really want to just get these blades going like first thing for sure. So that's kind of where I'm at this week. Yeah. Pretty chill.
So neither of you guys have even turned your machines on at all this week?
Yeah, mine was on all day Monday and yesterday too.
Yeah, mine's been
Monday,
off
all day was
since
running.
last week a little bit, and then
yeah, I haven't turned mine on today, but I just I got out here not too long before we started recording.
I've just been in cleaning mode, so
there you go.
If anybody understands that, it's me. I love a good cleaning mode day. Like I need one kind of right now. I'm kind of waiting until I have everything in place to do it all because it's like, if you just do one area, it doesn't have the same effect as if you take like 2 or 3 hours and you do everything, like vacuum everything. I'll mop my floor, all surfaces cleaned. I'll get the attachments on the vacuum and vacuum off all the carpet on top of all my Lista cabinets and my benches. And like, I actually started moving out my gym stuff. Last week I started going to an actual commercial gym again for the first time in 5 or 6 years. And my workouts went great and with my buddy. And so my cousin came over this weekend and was like, hey, what are you doing with your gym stuff? I'm like, well, I was going to put it in storage somewhere to convert that space for my shop. But if you want to borrow it, I know it's too expensive for you to just, he's like 22 for you to just purchase. But if you want to take it and use it and keep me from having to store it somewhere, that'd be sweet. So he came and got my bench, my dumbbells, my kettlebells, and some other, my easy curl bar and stuff like that. And supposedly it's coming for all my plate weight, my squat rack this weekend. So I'll be able to, I'm adding on, I bet you it's probably 200 square feet I'm adding into the shop of just using space again. So
I moved my squat rack in the garage on Monday. Finally.
We're living opposite worlds.
That was part of the reason why I wanted to clean all the shit in front of the table, in front of my Lista cabinet right here, so I could make room for that. Cause it's been on our patio in the backyard. And the kids bang their heads on it all the time, and it's always in the way out there. So, and plus the kids are having birthday parties soon, so I want to move it out here. Plus, if it's out here and I got cycles, I can actually start working out. Yeah,
nice, man.
Again, it's annoying, going to the patio and doing all that and coming back and forth. It's literally, I can, it's on the other side of my list right here. So
it's a blessing and a curse, man. Yeah, it's my buddy it works out good. He's a second shift guy. And so he trains 11 o'clock in the morning, which gives me, I can get the kids to school, come out here for a couple hours, get the machines running. He lives a half a mile from me. The gym is a mile and a half from me. So I can literally just zip down there in 5 minutes. We get a lift in for an hour and 15. And then I come back right up here and it's just been a nice, it's nice to leave for a while during the day and have some social interaction. I've realized I hadn't had that. And just to have that as an outlet's been making me feel great. And so stoked to continue with that. But
even just getting up in the morning and going to a coffee shop, grabbing some coffee and some breakfast, even if you're not interacting with anybody, you still feel like you break this isolation a lot. Even though I make my coffee at home pretty much every day, but
it's because you're also, you have ideas of delusions of grandeur, but you're also broke. You know what I mean? Not very many people can be spending 10, 15 bucks on a cup of coffee and a breakfast sandwich every day like you used to at the old shop.
Dude, that was a jam. Dunkin' Donuts on the way in, get that big frozen coffee. That was when both of us, I think, were going Dunkin' all in on Dunkin', dude.
I was a hard Dunkin' guy. My wife was
Yeah.
Dunkin' hard. And then I was like never a Starbucks person ever.
No.
And then she like one day was like, hey, drinks are buy one, get one free. Like, do you want one? And I'm like, yeah, fuck Starbucks. And then I got something like a vanilla latte with almond milk or something. And it was just like, this is so much better.
Yeah.
But it's like twice as much money.
Yeah. Starbucks, my whole thing with it is that it's not great, but it's consistent. It doesn't matter where the fuck you go. It's not the best coffee, but it's exactly the same as last time I got it. And I knew what I liked last time.
The beans are the same amount of burnt every time.
Yep, exactly. So,
oh man, Ken doesn't have a Wegmans out there, so he doesn't know.
Yeah,
you don't know the truth.
Nope.
You don't know the truth about Wegmans.
There's
Wegmans
a lot of
subs, man. Unbeatable.
Nice. Yeah, there's a lot of nice little small kind of mom and pop coffee shops around here that are actually really good. So you start hitting those up more. But
I don't think Wegmans has. They don't have coffee. Oh no, they do have coffee, don't they?
They have coffee. Yeah.
I forgot about that. The last time I went in there, like I went to get a sub, and right down the end there was like a barista station. I'm like, what is this?
Yep.
And I didn't try it.
It's all
automated. I might have to try it.
Sick.
It's good,
dude. You can get like a double shot of espresso, and then move your cup over and like fill it up with coffee, so you can get like a shot of espresso in your coffee. Yeah, dude, it's the best, and you don't gotta talk to anyone.
That's awesome. I'm going there tomorrow.
All touchscreen. I looked up how much those machines cost. They're $7,000, but still they're worth it.
There you go.
SPK Unlimited will have one.
That's only 1,000 cups of coffee at Starbucks.
I definitely will not, because you need somebody to maintain that. I don't have time for that.
You don't have time for any of that. Wegmans is a New York started brand, isn't it?
Rochester started brand.
Okay, that's real hometown for you.
I'm at the mecca of Wegmans. So if there's any listeners that know what Wegmans is, you know.
They know what's up. I mean, we've had, as long as I can remember, we've had a Wegmans. I mean, at least 25 years. But like, I think they're sprawling southward too, aren't they?
They are, yes. They're going southward. I think Washington, D.C. is getting one. I think they got some in North Carolina, South Carolina, maybe.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Deep, dude.
We got In-N-Out, though. I'm stoked on that. But I don't eat In-N-Out anymore, so.
They don't have Impossible burgers there?
No Impossible.
The animal sauce is not vegan friendly?
There's cheese on it, man. Neither is the Thousand Island, yeah. We just make our own shit.
Cheese isn't vegan?
No, man, sorry.
I'm as surprised now as I was 2 months ago.
Which is wild because it's been like 5 years.
I never knew. I just never knew. It's not something you talk to people about.
I don't talk about it, yeah. You know, everybody's like, oh, fuck, it's been 5 minutes since a vegan, you know. How do you know someone's a vegan? They'll fucking tell you. I don't really talk about it too much.
Is your wife real vocal about it, or are you guys both pretty tight-lipped?
No. Yeah, we don't really talk about it too much.
I just can't get over that. Yeah, she was on speakerphone and was like, just see if they have a salad and if they could put extra nuts on it. And I'm like,
what? I don't even
fucking vegetarian or something?
When we were we were out there? Yeah.
Yeah, and you gave me the side eye, and I'm like, hey, as long as you're not vegan.
Yeah.
And you're like, that
was when we were at the restaurant.
Wait, you're fucking vegan too?
That was Yard House.
Yeah.
That burger was awesome.
Got me, man.
They did have a good burger out there.
Enjoy that hydrogenated soybean oil compressed patty.
I know, yeah. We try not to do too much processed stuff, but everything's fucked up.
Yeah.
If we sent you guys whitetail deer meat, no,
sorry. I mean, it's different. It's probably much better. Like if I'm eating shit that Jim's hunted, you know, than buying shit from the store. But
oh yeah, dude, 100%.
Because when you were out here, we went out to a restaurant and we got some Impossible burgers. I think didn't we go to a burger spot?
Me?
Yeah, maybe it was Clayton. Clayton was out here.
It must have been Clayton.
Right around the same time. Maybe it was Clayton. I don't remember.
No, we did.
Yeah.
There was that burger spot that was like, it was like in a little courtyard of like an area.
I knew that was you too. I told my wife, and she's like, "He never went with us." I'm like, "No, it was Jim for sure."
No, I did. I came to the house and then we went and got burgers, but I did not key in on the fact that you were eating Impossible burgers at that time. Yeah,
that place is gone now. It sucks. Umami Burger.
That was a good spot.
That spot was good.
Umami Burger. It was good.
Yeah. So
never had.
That was probably
Impossible
like
meat
4 years ago.
Yeah.
Don't ever do it.
No.
No, man. I mean, I've had like those Morningstar like chicken nuggets and shit, like the vegetarian.
I've had those. Yeah.
if you drag that shit through enough sauce, it tastes all right. But like,
they're not that great though. Some of them are good.
like
Most
corn,
of them suck.
the corn stuff,
Most of
the
them
K,
suck.
the QU corn. It starts with a Q. I don't know. It's made from
Quinoa.
mushrooms. That's pretty good. They got
Mushroom-
chicken nuggets.
Corn is vegan though, man. You can eat corn. That's
yeah,
that's
corn.
a vegetable.
No, corn.
Yeah,
it's
corn.
QU. I don't
No,
know.
it's
The vegans
with a K. KORN.
No,
that's
a band. Don't eat those guys. They're probably gross.
probably don't taste very good.
No.
Anyways, I guess we could get back to talking about knife stuff instead of like veganism and whatever.
Whatever. Ramble so told you.
I don't know,
man. I actually do have a question. So I don't know. I don't want to talk about steel because steel doesn't really matter. But I had this thing in my Discord. It was like I posted MagnaCut or VanX, and overwhelmingly majority of people chose VanX. And I'm just trying to like get your guys' gauge. Do you think as like makers is VanX or is not VanX, is MagnaCut kind of like, is the hype dying down or is it still going strong? Because it seems like a lot of companies are still just getting into MagnaCut.
I think MagnaCut's here to stay for quite some time. I think that if there were other new steels becoming available, that people would shift. But like, I can't think of anything that's come out in the last 2 years since MagnaCut came out that like has like the new cool kid on the block vibe to it. And so I think that you're going to continue to see, and I don't know if you've noticed this or not, but like these last 10 blades that I am making now for CCKS are made out of S35VN.
Right.
And that is because when I'm looking at buying anything aside from a full sheet, there's not that many options of stuff available to buy in smaller quantities. It's like a shitload of MagnaCut, very select offerings of other steels, and that's it. And then when I even look for MagnaCut, like it's really not that available in smaller quantities either. It's like
I found one place with it that had it.
I mean,
they actually
aside
had,
from Alpha.
No, they actually had plenty. I got it from New Jersey Steel Baron.
Ah.
And it took them a few days to ship it, and I don't know if it's just because they didn't have it cut and they were blanking it out of a sheet or what, but
yeah,
I could add as much as I wanted. I could add as much as I wanted to the cart, and I ordered it. I ordered 5 sticks, 5 36-inch sticks at 1.5, and they came at like 1-inch 540. Like they're almost exactly what I wanted. And I got
how thick?
These are 187. These mic at like 187. They say they'll finish at 154. So I'm hoping that they still clean up at 160.
They for sure will.
Yeah. And I'm thinking maybe that's why that I had 2 blades out of the original run that didn't clean up. The very first one that I sent you had a couple little spots in it that didn't clean up. But by the time I grained them, I flat sanded them and I hit them on the grinder a little bit. They cleaned up fine. And there was actually, you know how I was talking real quick, kind of tangent, but I was talking about how I put these on a magnet. And then when I line grained on there, the magnet sucked it onto the platen. I totally forgot. This was a trick that we did. It was just literally a piece of tape, you know, and you just take a strip of tape and you stick it to yourself and then stick it down onto the blade. Now you got a handle, and that actually worked out awesome. So I just did that when I had to grain all the rest of them, and it actually worked out way better. Because with the magnet on there, it sucked the tip in there, and then I had one that rolled over, and I had to take a couple extra thou towards the front.
Brutal, dude.
So, but that actually worked out pretty good. As far as the VanX stuff goes, or MagnaCut stuff, I haven't really noticed it. I mean, at least my experience, which has been limited compared to your guys, I've had only 2 people out of everybody that bought my stuff or talked to me at the show or has hit me up about any kind of interest in my stuff has asked what the steel is. And there wasn't any negative on there when I told them it was MagnaCut. And I think some of the issues that I had during machining are easily mitigated moving forward by just modifying my process a little bit. I wasn't expecting them to move as much as they did because I never had that issue with XHP, RIP. So I think moving forward, I'm not going to have any issues with the MagnaCut stuff like before, which wasn't even major. None of it was even bad. I think there was weird kind of growth and movement during heat treat, but overall they were very consistent. So accounting for that moving forward, I think I'll be totally fine. I'm probably going to add a web in the window so I don't have to do the plugs like last time, because I'm sure that was probably annoying.
Oh,
dealing with
right.
those plugs and heat treating.
Yeah, the plugs weren't bad, but if it made your ship bow out, then yeah, definitely put the web in there. But
I mean, it'll keep them from collapsing, but it won't help them. It won't keep them from expanding. So I think either putting a small web through the middle that I can easily just mill off hard because it machines nice hard, or just doing like a solid floor all the way across, maybe meeting like halfway, go halfway either side and leave like a 20 or 30 thou wall across the whole thing with a nice radius.
Should be enough.
Crack. I think it should be fine. It definitely won't collapse or expand with that in there. Then it should cut off easy. So I'm probably going to do that. That's probably the only change that I think I'm going to make on these ones for these. And then also rough some of the lock face and all that too in the soft state, because I took off a lot of material. I think most of my tool wear was from cutting that lock face.
Yeah, that's a lot. What do you think? What do you think, Alex? Do you think that it's dying down, the hype?
I think the hype is sort of dying down, but also I feel like that. I think now that people know exactly what this, because I think when it first came out, I think it was poorly released in the regard of like people thought that it was like this amazing thing that is the end all be all. It has the best, wear resistance. It has the best corrosion resistance. It has the best toughness. I think that's what a lot of people thought initially. And then now it's like, it's essentially stainless 4V is what it is. If you look at, composition and all that stuff, it's essentially stainless 4V. And I believe when Knife Steel Nerds wrote the article about the corrosion resistance portion, he wasn't expecting the corrosion resistance that he got. It happened to be, far more than what he had expected. And I think that people really, when they read articles like that, they skip around and they don't actually read the article. But in that same vein, I don't think that it's dying out by any stretch of the imagination. I think the hype is dying out, but I think, like you said, the steel is here to stay. But again, availability is like pretty low. I mean, in my case, I can't buy a sheet of it. Like if I talk to Niagara Specialty Metals
for MagnaCut,
yeah. I think last time I talked to them, they're like, yeah, we're not going to have it for a while. As far as,
do you buy all your steel from Niagara?
The crew where I did, and then the LMAX I get from Udelholm in Elgin, Illinois. I believe Elgin, Illinois.
Yeah, Udelholm is just a more fun name to say too. So
yeah,
Noodle. Yeah, I talked to
LMAX, but LMAX is goated also.
I honestly like people argue like, well, S30V and MagnaCut are better than LMAX, but it's just like, yeah, but I like LMAX for other reasons. It's just also the name is baller.
It's hard, dude. It's badass. I mean, that's like, I just feel like from a cutting performance perspective, there's just very few people that are using it to the extent to where they can really like test the differences, and notice it. It's like, as long as it has a good heat treat. And like the thing I do love that MagnaCut has the corrosion resistance that it has, like that is to me one of the highest upsides to it, where it's like it's so much higher, it's so much better than every other stainless knife steel that it's like it's just pretty rad. I also don't like paying $1,800 for a sheet of steel. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's just that's a ton of money. It's like what you look at, say like CPM 154. Is literally 50% of the cost.
Oh yeah, 100%.
You know what I mean? It's like, and it's still badass. So I don't know. I've been playing around. I've done some CPM 154. I've done S45 VN. I've done S35 VN. I've done MagnaCut. I thought about doing a run just in AEBL just for the sake of it, because like I made a shitload of fixed blades out of AEBL and never had a problem. And part of me was like, hey, just do some in AEBL, and like, why not? Who cares? Keep it spicy, keep it different. Why does it always have to be the same? And like, then you kind of have room for feedback where people can tell you, hey, this thing was sharper than dog shit. You know what I mean? And like, or yeah, this lost its edge really quick. How do you know unless you're just kind of like experiencing different shit? So I'm probably going to keep bouncing around. I told myself MagnaCut was the last steel I was ever going to use. And then I had some growth issues, and I dealt with some small problems, and I realized that I wanted to explore again. So
yeah, I think I was in the same boat because I think I made like 3 or 4 Lamias out of that, and had the same issues, and then was just like, I'm just gonna stick with Crewwear. I know it works, and then now I got a bunch of LMAX, and I'm just gonna do with LMAX for a little while. I mean, I'm probably gonna end up getting a sheet of Vanax at some point again, because when I bought my sheet a long
nitrogen
time
steel
ago,
whore.
yeah. When I first bought that, and I'll be honest, like I didn't like stainless steel at all. And then after, manufacturing over 350 knives, 400 knives out of that steel, it's just like, all right, I like Vanax. It's like, it's not that bad. And you can, and the max hardness on it is 61 HRC. It's going to, machine well, or it did machine well. Didn't have any issues. There's a shitload of chromium in it. But, I mean.
What made you decide to go with K390?
Oh, K390. So that was like the first run of sharks that I did back in the day. I think it was 12. I made 12 of them. That was the steel that I used, was K390. And since then, I have not used K390. And a lot of guys were like, hey, are you going to, pick up some K390? And they had it at an Alpha Knife Supply. And I was like, you know what? I'm here. Might as well get it. Throw it in a folder and see what happens. And YOLO. So I did. I don't know. Everyone that's using the K390 Lamias loves it. So
what do we have?
I didn't get to keep one for myself. You guys got Crewwear.
We got Crewwear.
Crewwear, baby. Lamia crew. I just cleaned my blade. I need to sharpen it.
I have tape all over mine still. I got tape.
I had tape all over mine.
I don't need to sharpen it, but I have the sharpener set up, so I was going to.
I got Crewwear too.
I was thinking about blasting the frame also. I might blast
the new finish on it. The new tumbled finish.
Yeah. Yeah, when I hit up.
But yeah, no, I just wanted to get your guys' feedback on like the whole steel thing, because like I used to be one of those steel nerd guys, but like I've gotten over that. I'm just like, whatever. I'm just going to use whatever. Because even like if you want to look at like data and stuff too, like considerably, higher wear resistance falls into like the S30Vs and the S35 VNs, and the S45 VNs are way better than MagnaCut. But I mean, MagnaCut does have the corrosion resistance and that toughness. So it's just like, I don't know.
You get some of it too. You hear about is like sharpening too. I mean, you get stuff that's so hard to work with. It'll last for a long time, but by the time it does break down and somebody has to sharpen it or something, it's difficult for them unless they have proper equipment. At least, I mean, that's been
I no longer have that issue.
That some guys, yeah, there you go. Not for you, yeah. But I mean, indies
big flex, dude.
I mean, there's a lot
big flex.
There was a lot of stuff around that for a while. I think with like Chris Reeves, where he's like, I don't use all that super shit because I want people to be able to sharpen it easily, kind of thing. But you have to do it a little bit more often though. But it makes it easier for the end user. When I hit up Niagara about MagnaCut, their minimum was a sheet. So I think it was 24 by 36. That was the smallest order that I could place with them, but they would laser cut it to whatever I needed.
You did mention that in our chat. I forgot about that.
Yeah. So it was a full, it was a full sheet.
Just cut the fuck out of myself.
Nice. You screamed like a girl too.
I was fucking cutting the skin off the end of my finger and it slipped and I ran the fucking knife into my nail bed.
Dude, I stabbed the crap out of my hand. It's healed now. This is like maybe 2 weeks ago. It's probably hard to see, but I was sharpening and the stone slipped off of the blade. And dude, it went.
My worst nightmare.
It stabbed straight in sideways and I bled all over the garage. There's blood. There's still blood spots on the floor all the way from the garage all the way to the house. Just blood everywhere. And
you need to wear fucking gauntlets while you're sharpening.
I know. I need some like chainmail.
You see guys the wicked
shit. Yeah.
Nope.
And I just picture like stabbing the fuck out of myself.
Well, I was rushing it too because like I wanted to ship some stuff and I was going both ways on it. So I was going down also and it slipped off and bam, right into the tip. And the blade literally went like a 1/4 inch deep. I took a picture of the blade where you could see all the steel and abrasive was pushed back like a 1/4 inch from the tip where it went into my thumb.
Damn, it went that deep.
It went really deep.
It went pretty
it's still
deep.
Sore. I mean, it healed, but it's sore as hell.
Really deep.
Yeah. But yeah, so when I hit up Niagara, they said, yeah, they would do a sheet, and they had a bunch of different thicknesses. I mean, this was like 200 to it was 207 to 227 by 24 by 36 inch. And it was like $1,800 laser cut though to the size that I need. So that's with
that was
blanking
with
them out.
Laser. Okay.
That was with laser. So it was like
maybe
18,
I'll hit up Frank again.
It ended up,
and see.
yeah, it ended up being $19.45 each for 95 pieces, 1 to 2 weeks. That was my quote. Might not be different or might not be the same now. This was a couple weeks ago. But I
That's a lot of money.
I ended up just going with, I already said it. The hell was it? New Jersey Steel Baron. And I just added 5 sticks of 1.5 by 3/16. So the reason why I got this quoted at 207 and 227 is because my blades finish at 160. They're like, oh, it won't clean up. It's 156 is what it needs to be. I'm like, 4th thou, whatever. I'll blast out, or lap.
Yeah, I need 125.
So it'll be way less.
I need
than
125.
This,
so it'll be way less than that. All right, so
way less than this.
Maybe I'll hit them up, and maybe I'll do some sharks in Magna Cut.
Yeah, that would probably be a good idea. I mean, 95 pieces right now for me is too high, but I think hopefully once I get these ones done, then I'll just probably spring for a whole sheet of laser cut.
Because I know for a fact, out of a full sheet, I can get, I think, 97-ish sharks out of a sheet. So if I got 2 sheets, I could get over 100, which that might satiate a bunch of people.
Yeah,
maybe I'll look into that.
Yeah, I think it'll be worth it. It was just too much for me to drop right now. Just because I had to get all the other shit, but I got everything else.
Yeah, because like the last time I asked, they didn't have anything. They didn't have a sheet of it.
Yeah, that was another thing that I did on Monday too. I did a lot of shit on Monday. I had to modify all of these pivot screws because the ones with a 1/4 inch head have a 15th thou chamfer around the Torx. The ones with a 3/8 head have no chamfer, or some of them have a huge chamfer. Extremely inconsistent. And as far as I know, they're all from the same manufacturer because the sticker's on the bag, which is very strange. And they're different than the last order that I got from them, which is from the same spot. So I think this is probably going to be the last time that I order these screws. But the thing that sucks is that I like them. It's a thread I want to use. Their barrels, the pivot barrels that they have are really nice. They're actually the nicest ones that I've ever gotten. And they have a bunch of different lengths too. So some of them I don't even have to modify. The pocket clip ones I don't have to modify. I have to shorten one of the screws for the pocket clip side because they bottom out against each other. The 2 screws hit each other. So I need to shorten one of those and then tighten that into the barrel, and then that sub-assembly is done. So I'm probably working on that stuff a little bit today, but I modified all those. I just set up a collet closer, a 90-degree collet closer in the mill. I just got one of these Eagle Rock 90-degree collet closers. And I took a 5/16 5C collet and I counterbored it with a 3/8 diameter on there. So it's not technically dead length, but it's consistent enough for what I was doing. So I just went in and chamfered all that stuff. I stuck the magnets in the doors, left the doors open, block skipped out the tool change and the Z retract and everything. Turned the
I need to take 2 weeks and just shadow you guys for a week. Like shadow Ken for a week, shadow Jim for a week. I feel like that my knowledge in machining is severely lacking with the knowledge base that they have on the internet, because that's where I get all my knowledge from.
Most of it's not. Yeah,
it's probably a lot of the G code stuff I don't understand.
There is a lot of good information out there, but if you don't know what good and bad information are, a lot of people think that all of it's good.
I have both in my brain right now. Yeah.
Yeah. So a lot of the information that's out there is not gained through working in a big shop. A lot of it seems, not all of it. There is very good information out there, but I don't know. There's some methods out there that I'm like
gained and lost at the machine control.
Like for example, like a good example would be like, all right, so let's say you had the Pearson pallet system on your table and you wanted to set it up to be just like 0 point. It's going to be the same every time. So you would pick up X and Y on one of them pins, right?
Yeah, off the round pin. Yeah.
Where would your Z be? Would your Z be on top of the pallet?
You do well,
or would it be on top of that pin?
I think the way that Pearson recommends is you do XY off the round pin, because there's one round and one diamond pin.
Right.
And the diamond's used for the tertiary. So you do XY off the round pin and you use Z off the pad of the actual pallet base. So how they have those 2 rails along the sides that the pallets sit on? That's consistent.
Right.
So if you say your XY to the pin on diameter and your Z to that pad, then your work offset never changes. You just put a pallet on and it's going to retain the work offset that was already there. The only issue is that none of your code is going to mean anything on your parts. So if you care about what your code looks like and you want to check your Z values and all that stuff, all of your Z values are going to be positive, like 1.25 inches plus or whatever. They're all going to be random numbers. Your XY is going to all be random numbers. So
yeah, I'm not a fan of that. I said
don't
everything.
Like it. Yeah. I'm not a big fan of it either. It makes it easy though. So if you don't care about that stuff, you don't care how big your programs are, you don't care about running sub programs, like how normally a lot of people will run subs. So like if you have 20 parts on there, you could have a work offset for each part if you wanted. And then you would go to the work offset, you jump into a common sub that all of your parts are sharing. So if you modify, a single line of code or a depth or whatever, all of your parts automatically change. If you have a common work offset and you have 20 parts on a pallet, you essentially have to post out the code for every single part, which is going to be different XYs for all of them.
Right.
So any change you make, you got to make sure that you make that change to all of them. So
there's
different ways to do it.
Well, my question too is like, so when you're doing your Z and it's off of that pad, so now everything above it, like, how does it know? Like, it doesn't
it's
know.
All in the cam.
Like,
because it's all in the cam.
You have to machine all your pallets to a common height then.
Right. Yeah. You'd have to
they
do
all
that
have
first,
the same
right?
Z level. Yes.
Ideally,
if you were going to.
It doesn't have
technically
to be.
not, because if technically, as long as you model the pallet accurately,
right?
Like if you're picking up off of a 0 on the bottom, it's still going to be the right height. It's just, I've always found it best. Like I probe the outside of the pallet and then I just cut a bore in the center, 3/4 inch bore. Yeah. And then I just like have a little pad right next to there that's the same level as like the bottoms of like, what my parts set on. And honestly, I just probe that and I just have like every single file that I have has a datum plane 150 thousandths above that level, above that surface. So there's never any question of I probe the top of a pallet and I raise it up 150 thousandths.
Yep.
The only time that I change that is if I'm finishing or I'm cutting blades like that have the grind stock thickness on them. I'll probe the top of the blade instead of that surface because sometimes it's 162, sometimes it's 158. Rather than like a common value, I just work off the top of that. But yeah, I just have gotten used to running a probing cycle off of each individual pallet. It takes like 1 minute.
It's so fast, especially if you build it into your workflow in Fusion. It's already in the program.
Yeah.
So you just drop your stuff on as long as it's close.
I know all about that.
Yeah. Well, you will as soon as you're done setting up this computer.
Yeah, no doubt.
The thing that sucks about using a common Z, like off of the pallet base, is that say you smash into your fixture or whatever, it's worn out because you've run so many parts on it and you skim the top of that fixture. Now you got to figure out how much you skimmed off, change your model in your cam, and then modify that and repost all your shit, even if your code's perfect.
Yeah.
And the issue is that in a perfect world, you would have all of your modifications and all of your edits done in the CAM software. But there's certain cases, especially when you're running pallets or you want to really, really optimize all your stuff. You can't do some of that stuff within CAM. It just won't let you do it, depending on what it is.
because my pallets are like, a certain height in the CAM. But then like when I like decked all of my pallets off, I like touched, the face of those in Z and then just comped out, 5 thou. I went down 5 thou and then
it's annoying.
I didn't change it. I didn't change it in my thing. Like I didn't change it in my program. It just knows now. It just knows that it's just going to go off the top of that thing. That's why it was sketchy when a lot of people were like, oh no, I do my Z off of this pad, and I'm just like, yeah, but what if you change stuff? Then you got to change everything. Like that makes no sense.
That's like trying to program a multi-axis machine off center of rotation. It's gay. It sucks because you make any changes, or you got to reskim your jaws or anything. Now your Z changes. Now you got to go change a model, and you got to repost. And hopefully Fusion doesn't make any edits to where now your toolpaths are completely different than they were before, or they're just
why couldn't you
crapped out, locked out?
Couldn't you just put a bore in the side of your fixture, like your actual fixture that you use to hold, like, I don't know, say like your clamp or whatever, like if you're using a vise, like a 5-axis vise in a 5-axis machine, couldn't you just bore your own work coordinate system into the side of it and use that?
Yeah, you can do that. you just got to have like a dynamic fixture offset or rotary fixture offset or one of those compensation packages. That's now the machine knows where the center of rotation is.
And then when it rotates, it knows it based off
it's
of
doing all the calculation within that. So
Right,
now
yeah.
you can skim your jaws and now your Z's changed. But as you tip A90, now your Y's changed. You know, but if you have like dynamic work offsets like Haas or rotary fixture offset like Brother has, or the G68.2 or G54.2, those things, it's doing the calculation from where your actual work offset is to where your center of rotation is. So your part doesn't have to be in the same spot as your model. You don't even have to have your work holding modeled at all. Now you set your probe. It knows where the center of rotation is. It's calculating the deltas between X, Y, Z, and it's automatically calculating as you're tipping or tilting. So that's the best way to do it. You know, for on a Brother, it's like, you know, think of like a $700 or $800 option. Haas is like, I think $6,000, something like that for DWO, TCPC. But if you're doing multi-axis stuff, it's worth it. Unless you want to set, you know, unless you're going to the same degree every time, like on a production machine, if you want it.
Right. I mean,
you know, when you're working on three sides, you could have A0, A90, A minus 90, and then you just set 3 work offsets. And then now you can fine tune all that stuff, but the software will do it in the control automatically. It's kind of unnecessary. And if you're in a situation where you've got operators that don't really understand that stuff, they get lost so easy. So by doing any kind of DWO or RFO stuff and just probe all that stuff, it'll do it on its own. I've had parts where it's a casting and then the primary datum was a face and the secondary datum is a cast diameter that changes all the time.
Right.
But you have to be concentric with that. But now your whole casting's moving around. So I was probing stuff and then probing the tertiary, or the tertiary was known because it was a pin. Anyways, probing the secondary, the bore, and then it knew where that tertiary pin was, and it would calculate where this is now in relation to that, and it was adjusting the angle, and it was automatically outputting a G68, so it was rotating the program for every part. It was quite a bit to get it to, you know, to write it all from scratch and get it working, but once that was done, and it saved so much time.
Shit.
And you could do
I understand what you're talking about, though, Alex. Like when you're talking about like G code and stuff being intimidating, like the person who you are as a machinist, like I'll call you a YouTube machinist. Like everything that you learned from like videos, or like everything you've ever done has been on a computer, which in today's like manufacturing environment, 99% of what everybody does is in CAM. And like, I got to be honest, I have to take a refresher course a lot of the time, but like I spent the first several years, maybe just the first 2 years of my like machining career, like everything was handwritten code, like on a mid 90s Akuma that like you could drip feed programs in from Creo, but I didn't know how to run it. So it was all manually programmed profiling sequences and helical interpolations and like canned drilling cycles and if-then statements for like looping depths and, you know, telling a tool to step down when it's like Z-level profiling and like, you know, stepping in if you're doing like 2D contouring, like all that stuff was just done at the machine control. And then like, even when I was doing stuff on the Machinos, like I used Creo, but like I still had a lot of sequences that like I wasn't using that for that like had those similar components, or like I was at the very least like, you know, everything brought in from Creo was a sub program. And so I would still have to write like T1, M6, S2000, M3, you know, G43, Z1 point, H whatever, and then like call like a P1000. And like, you know, you have to know those things, you know? And so like, if you don't know those things, like you have no reason to, because your post like kicks all that stuff out. So you look at like a text file out of the machine or out of your computer, and you're like, I don't know what any of this shit is, you know? And like, Ken is 100 times more well-versed than I am. Like, you know, he can break down a program. I have to like look up what a lot of G and M codes are. Like he'll sit here and spout like, oh yeah, G68.2, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I don't remember what that is, you know, but like it is a foreign language that if you've never taken the time to learn it in any regard, like it would be daunting to like look into it and try and understand what it means. So you're not alone, man. I think that like the vast majority of people are like in your set of circumstances. And like I used to have this argument with my foreman, because like when I would have like a Creo issue and I'd be sitting on my thumbs for 3 hours like waiting for somebody to come fix it, and he'd be like, if you were worth your weight in salt, you'd be at the machine control fucking programming that. And it's like a complicated like 3-dimensional move. Like I'm not gonna like sit here and program this manually and like hope it doesn't fuck up, you know. Like I'll wait 3 hours till the fucking cam is fixed, you know. But you know, he'll say, you know, you had to be well rounded, and that was like always the thing, you know. But really, in reality, it's not, because the computer's faster, it's more accurate, it's more controllable. Like there's no arguing that.
And there's traceability.
Yeah, and there's traceability. It's like as soon as you delete that thing that made that program go awry in your machine control, there's no proof as to what it ever was. You know, so yeah, I don't know.
And if somebody doesn't know, that it's in there, is the audio getting kind of
just for you
right now?
Just for you,
that, Alex? Just for me, because I only heard it for yours. What the hell's going on?
That's Riverside telling us that we literally just hit the 1 hour mark and it's time to wrap up.
I know, we should probably shut it. 'Cause one of our headphones or something's dying. I don't know what it is. But yeah, you lose all traceability. So if somebody doesn't know you made those edits in that program and they repost, say there's been a revision on the part or whatever, and they modify that, they repost, now it wiped everything that you edited manually, unless you're exporting that stuff, doing some compare and edits, bringing those edits in. So if you've got a guy on the floor that's not good about taking those notes or bringing it into the engineering department and telling the programmers or somebody that, hey, I had to make this change, you know, like this drill was wrapping up over 3 inches to clear a clamp, and it was feeding from 3 inches in Z all the way down, and that's why our cycle time was 45 minutes instead of 10.
Oh, geez.
You know, which is stuff that we've ran into, you know. So
G code maybe something is worth talking about, though. We could even
that...
potentially do like a segment on an episode talking about it, you know, just
I'm down.
You know, what some of the codes are, what they do, how you use them. You know, I have a little thing right on the Super Minimo behind me that has probably 60 G&M codes on the fly that I can just look at.
Where'd you get that?
You know,
Did you like print it from the internet?
Came on the machine from the dude I bought it from.
Oh, what the hell?
Yours is, I'll send you the programming manual. I have the V10 programming manual for the Speedio, Alex, and it has all that stuff.
I have that. I have the programming manual.
Have like stickers. Pauses have stickers in the cabinets for that kind of stuff. But yeah, I mean, the thing that sucks too is that some of the format. I'm super picky about my formats of how code gets posted out, and the stock post with Infusion, the format it's a nice safe format. But there's a lot of waste in there as far as like how it's processing different codes. You can combine a lot of that stuff or do things a little bit safer. But overall, I mean, they're pretty good. And for most people, I don't think they care. A lot of guys don't even look at their programs.
I look at every single program.
And, you know, go from there. But
yeah, the name of it before you drop it into the machine control.
I look at every single line.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll try and get some stuff that's a little bit more focused, I think, moving forward. I've got a list in here. I mean, there are certain things that I do want to talk about. We've got some stuff in here for equipment, work holding tooling, like material and hardware acquisition, which we kind of touch on things here and there. CAD/CAM, workflow, scheduling. Some admin stuff is like specific.
Oh yeah. No, my wife just came in with a package.
Are you looking at something?
A big bag of leftover
Halloween
candy dots that she must have just gotten at the store that was discounted, because I'm like I love dots, and a bag of jerky.
There you go.
So yeah, very nice.
Nice. I thought you were getting that subscription that
No, sorry, I don't make $50 a month like him to afford that lifestyle.
Yeah, I don't want that lifestyle anyways. not the one that not that subscription one. Anyways, yeah, and then some documentation stuff. I mean, we kind of gone over some like
I think that'll be great.
Material stuff or knife specific stuff in sheets and whatever. But a couple of things. I mean, if there's anything out there that anybody wants to specifically hear about, you know, whether it's like,
let's make it a point then. Let's say this leading up to next week. We will post a request for some questions
out there again too.
Give you guys an opportunity to kind of steer us a little bit, and you know. This was another episode where it's just buddies that are talking shit and getting through stuff. But like, I certainly would love to tackle some more complex issues for people. I think we said these exact same things last week. We're almost 4 months into this. People are aware of who we are, how we are. And I think that it's time that we start to add some value, because I think we have a lot to add. I think we have a lot to offer, and I think we can help some people. So definitely make sure to prioritize that.
Sure. Yeah, it sounds good. I mean, we mentioned it a little bit last week too, but I mean, we did start the Patreon, and that was kind of what I was intending on having, like questions. Like if you want to have a dedicated section of the podcast to whatever it is that you have, as long as it's fitting within this. I don't really want to talk about like business loans and that kind of stuff, because I'm not savvy on the business side of things at all. There you go. Yeah. So that's why Alex is on here. So, but yeah, we did start it. The link is in the description, in the show notes and everything. So I don't want to push like monetization stuff too much, but I mean, that's kind of what I started it for, but we'll figure it out. I mean, we'll go over this stuff this week and kind of dial some stuff in and definitely make some posts about whatever we're going to do. But I think doing listener questions was fun in the beginning. We just didn't have the direction yet. So we were getting wild questions like all over the map on stuff. And it was like, you could easily talk.
Yeah, dude, it's so funny. Your voice is so deep right now on my headphones. Like, is it like that for you too, Alex?
Yeah, it's like you inhaled a bunch of nitrous oxide, man.
Yeah, dude, it's like really. Yeah, you sound like you're on reverse helium, like dude. You're like, what's up?
You guys sound like you're on helium on mine, which is weird. Yeah,
it's hey, there you are.
Opposite. I don't know if my headphone. I think my headphones are probably going to die.
Cool. Well, guys, it's been an awesome hour episode. Everybody else is not again, thank you guys for listening to us ramble and bullshit and work through stuff. This has become kind of like the highlight of my midweek, and I look forward to doing it every week, and I can't wait to continue doing it for quite some time. A reminder, anybody that's going to be in California next week for the California Custom Knife Show, in where I think it's in Woodland Hills, you know, I'll have a table. Ken will be working my table with me. Please feel free to stop by, introduce yourself with your name, your Instagram name, potentially bring your Instagram profile up so I can see how it's spelled so that if I mispronounce it in my head when I read it, I can still know who you are. I'm looking forward to seeing everybody. This is my first time at a knife show in California. Hopefully it will not be my last, but we'll talk about hopefully next week when we talk at this time, I will be balls deep in completed or nearly completed knives, and I'm not sweating bullets stressing about getting stuff done over the next 18 hours before I have to fly out. So anyhow, nice. Gentlemen, it's been a pleasure to talk to you. Look forward to catching up with you guys next week. Take care.
Later.
Yeah, same. All right, later.